and welcome to Movies, Films, and Flicks. I am Mark Hoffmeyer, and joining me is a man who is still watching the extras on the Frighteners DVD. It's Chris Kelly.
It's been 3 days, and I'm almost through it.
I mean, Peter Jackson did the world a big favor when he put together the Frighteners Blu-ray and DVDs, because there's commentaries and there's a 4-hour documentary about the behind-the-scenes work.
Yeah, it was definitely. I mean, if you were interested in how the early days of visual effects happened, they covered it very extensively, especially on the DVD and Blu-ray. I strongly recommend, if anyone's interested, to watch it. I watched the majority of it. I listened to the commentary and watched most of the making of documentary, but hot damn.
This movie took 6 months to film in 1995. 6 months, which is a very long schedule for a film like this. And a lot of people have talked about this, but Peter Jackson, Weta, his company Weta, which have since moved on to win Oscars and become a major player in the visual effects field, they had one computer. And at the end of this movie, they had 35. So they made a lot of gains in technology in 95 in this film. And what I think is most interesting is that the behind-the-scenes documentary, they were talking about how the various people who worked on this just had not like breakdowns, but
I would have just melted.
Yeah. And it's kind of funny. So the guys that worked on it, Gray Horsfield, remember in the documentary, the guy Gray, he did all the Lord of the Ring movies, Hobbit, Man of Steel, King Kong, Iron Man 3, Furious 7, Pete's Dragon. He was the guy who worked on the Reaper in this movie. And he
did a great job.
There were a ton of different Reapers. And they called one the Gray's Breakdown Reaper because he had almost like a meltdown while working on this movie.
Which one was it? I mean, I love the one that they used that was the practical one, but it only makes a brief appearance, which is on the rooftop.
Well, Wes Takahashi came in from ILM. Robert Zemeckis brought him in to help with this movie. This is a guy who worked on Willow, The Abyss, Last Crusade, Goonies, Back to the Future, Rocketeer, and The Mask. But he made a joke. That's Gray's break. They had a breakdown one. But that's crazy that, this movie, you watch it now and you don't really understand the amount of work for it. But what Peter Jackson did, it was groundbreaking at the time.
It was beyond groundbreaking. I mean, we never saw anything like that, especially when the Grim Reaper reaches, when the guy's in the bathroom, reaches through the mirror, grabs the guy's chest, squeezes the heart, falls down, then the guy goes up to heaven.
Yeah.
And it's like, we never saw anything like that ever. I remember seeing this movie as a child. And you just never saw anything like that. I mean, you never saw, you did see, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, I would say, is probably like the big one. But movies like that didn't exist because they just didn't have the technology. And, thankfully, Peter Jackson went bonkers and decided to buy 35 computers. Yeah. Because if it weren't for that, we never would have had Lord of the Rings.
Exactly. And
remember what he says in the documentary? He was like, I was the only company that had the most computers.
So they went to me.
That's great.
750 special effects shots in this film, which is a lot. And I found an article where they said the extending shooting schedule owed much to the fact that scenes where ghosts and human characters interacted had to be filmed twice. Once with human characters acting on set, and then with the ghost characters acting against a blue screen. The two elements would later be digitally composited into one shot with the use of split-screen photography. Such sequences require precise timing from the cast as they traded dialogue with characters who were merely blank air. So,
well, they still do that today with blue screen, and then you'll have the actor talking to a tennis ball on in the floating in
they
the
just
hadn't
air. Done it
but
yet.
This was like the very first time they had done that. And that just, I think Jake Busey, I think it was like hour 7 of the making of documentary when they're talking to him. But he talks about how...
we're watching it right now.
I played it started playing it last week. It's still going. So he talks about how like they had to move with the camera as opposed to moving and then the camera kind of going with them. So he talks about how the scene is them when he's interacting with his girlfriend at the end of the movie, whenever she touches his face, and he's like, "That's bullshit." I don't like.
When she's doing this, with her hand out. No one can see this on the podcast, but think about someone sitting, looking like doing it like their arm in a 90-degree, like they're in a big arm cast,
like caressing his face.
Yeah, and then pretend like you're caressing someone's cheek with your wrists or fingers. Yeah, that's a good explanation.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, cool.
And he talks about how in that scene he says that the French guy, or is it the French guy that's the cannibal, and he's like, he says he got 50 people.
Oh, the Russian.
Yeah, the Russian cannibal got 50 today. That's bullshit. This title needs to be held by an American. That scene, like, he really had to, like, in the document, in the making of, he's like, they're trying to do it, and he keeps looking off, like, in a different spot. He's like, oh, god damn it. Like, just like, he had to do, I think it was like 30 or 40 takes of it, because he just couldn't hit it just right. Because, I mean, you got to think about it. That's really hard to do. Because they already shot all this to begin with. So then they have to reshoot it with all the people who are playing the ghost. And then the people who were playing the ghost obviously were not on set. And even if they were, it probably wouldn't help that much. But they would then have to act as they would if they were in that scene on a blue screen. So then that kind of, like, you know, with mocap and everything, that's a little different because they're given a more free range to do as they please, and then they can manipulate the actor to be on what scale they want in comparison to the scene. But at that time, they didn't have that. So it was just kind of like, okay, so we're going to have to step this up.
It's crazy.
It's bonkers to think about.
I love the prison fight scene. So when Michael J. Fox...
It was supposed to be so much more.
Yeah. And when Michael J. Fox and Trini Alvarado, he's trying to save her from the Reaper. And then you had Stuart and Cyrus fighting the Reaper. I love, in the behind-the-scenes documentary, they were wrestling with a stuntman for a couple of days. And he had to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
Did you hear that? And then I remember...
Shy McBride.
Yeah, Shy McBride was like, yeah, he had to go to the hospital. And then Jim Fife, the guy who plays Stewart's like, he had to go to the hospital? And then Peter Jackson's like, yeah, they pulled his shoulder out of his socket. And they just they showed clips of them just wrestling with the guy in a blanket.
I couldn't imagine. I mean, I could see doing that for like an hour or two, but my gosh, like, it was like 2 days straight. It was like, my God, the fact that these guys could do it, it was just...
A New Zealand stuntman got the shit beat out of him
for like 2 days straight.
Yeah. But that's what I like about this movie. And this movie really I love because I saw it when I was 14. I bought tickets for Multiplicity and I snuck into the movie theater. And then I went to see it again because I just felt like the first time I saw it, it was because it's not a happy movie.
No.
I went to go watch it again and I found a couple. I just was waiting outside the theater and there's a couple came up. I'm like, they look like they're old. I'm like, hey guys, can you get me a ticket for the Frighteners? Here's my money. I just can't buy it. And they're like, yeah, sure. So they bought, 2 for Multiplicity and 1 for the Frighteners. And the guy's like, who's going into where? But they bought me that. And I think I love the VHS cover. I loved...
It was a hologram.
Yeah, it's so cool. And then I was a big fan of Michael J. Fox. I just love that guy. And I just thought the special effects in this film and the way that... All right, so this was supposed to be released in Halloween.
Yeah, and then they got pushed to the summer?
Yeah, July. And then they gave them an extra $6 million to finish. And everyone just lost their minds, all the special effects guys. But this is not a summer movie because you think what starts off as a movie about Michael J. Fox as a paranormal investigator with 2 ghosts that help him so he's a con man.
Yeah, he's a great con man.
Yeah. But then it turns into this movie about a man who...
he knows who's going to be killed next, and he knows that they're going to be screwed in the afterlife because some of them do go to heaven.
Yeah.
But he knows that there is someone that is specifically targeting people because his wife was originally targeted back in the day.
Yeah.
So then he knows that now this Grim Reaper has come back to haunt him is the best way to put it. And then, I mean, well, thinking about it now, it's kind of like, well, is that even really much of a conflict? Because he can't really do anything about it.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the movie.
And it's
so, but he knows that people are being targeted now specifically. And it's like the Grim Reaper is targeting people that have conflicts with Michael J. Fox so that he can basically be doomed for the rest of his life.
Yeah. And all the while trying to get the most kills ever.
Yeah.
And so...
That's a hell of a damn...
This is like... So it's just kind of crazy. So it's about this guy who goes on this massive shooting spree, which in...
At the beginning, yeah.
You couldn't make this movie. You couldn't make this movie nowadays because that shooting spree is graphic, where he just pulls out the gun. Well, I guess you're first.
Yeah, you're number one.
And then young Dee Wallace or Patricia is walking around with a box cutter,
carving in everybody's foreheads what number they were.
I mean, that is brutal. And then throughout this movie, the judge gets murdered. He gets cut in half. The ghost gets killed.
Yeah.
And then you have
poor John
Stewart getting killed. I mean, you have people's hearts getting ripped out. You have just the mom of Patricia gets stabbed to death. I mean, this movie goes through a dark place. It's about
I mean, well, that was Peter Jackson's thing before. Before he
Dead
even
Alive.
before he. Oh God,
Meet the Feebles. But those bad tastes. Those movies had very.
He was very gross and disgusting, and he made a lot of movies that were violent and just not very pleasant to see. So when he started doing this, and then he did the Frighteners. And then that gave birth to the Lord of the Rings movies, and then that's whenever he became who we know as now, as this guy. And then he got hooked up with all the other guys. But yeah, before that, he was a very gruesome filmmaker.
But Dead Alive, though, that movie was very tongue in cheek in a way that the Evil Dead films was. But then you watch the Frighteners, and this goes.
It's dark too.
Yeah, I mean, it does have humor involved with it, but it's not a summer movie. This is a Halloween movie. Even that score by Elfman. Yeah. Danny Elfman is I like the score by Elfman, actually. He just agreed to do a lot of people just agreed to do this movie because of Heavenly Creatures. Yeah. And Zemeckis backed it, Robert
Heavenly
Zemeckis.
Creatures was a little bit beyond its time. I mean, now they're making a musical out of it.
No.
So, it just wasn't quite where everyone's heart was at the time.
I like that Melanie Linsky, the actress from Heavenly Creatures.
She plays the cop.
Yeah, she's a cop, and also Lucy Linsky and Ray Linsky, the characters. There's characters with last names based on Melanie. So there's no Winslets in here, though, so that's bad. And there's no Kates. What's Peter Jackson trying to say? But this movie, though, so I don't know if you remember this, but I put a picture up on Facebook where I said, photo of the day, the Frighteners were going to be potting about this. And I got a ton of positive responses from this movie. So this is a movie that I think people around our age, I'm 36, give or take 3 years, somewhere around there. I think a lot of people really appreciate this movie.
Well, yeah, people liked it. It was beyond for what it was at the time. We also got to remember Michael J. Fox. He was still very much known as Marty McFly, and he was trying to break out of that role. I mean, he tried a few times during the 80s to get away from
Hollywood and stuff like that.
That was, Doc Hollywood. And of course, being Alex P. Keaton probably didn't help him out a lot either, because that's what everyone recognized him as. So he was trying to go for more darker roles, and of course he did this. And then he realized he didn't want to be away from his family for 6 months out of the year, so he was like... Spin City, here it is. And that went on for, I don't know how many years.
I think he did that for a few seasons, right? But then his health, and then Charlie Sheen stepped in. But I love Spin City.
Yeah, I did too.
It was a fun show.
It was really fun.
But this movie, watching it now, I really want to go to Wellington in New Zealand. It just looks like a beautiful coastal city.
Yeah, and they were going for what, Northern California?
Oh, were they?
That's what he says in the commentary, that he wanted to have it look like Northern California or like a small town in California. He didn't want it to look like New Zealand. So that's the reason why all the actors in the movie are American. So he's like, even everybody he could find that was an American that was available in New Zealand, they were in this movie. So, except for the lady who plays the journalist. And he says in the commentary, he said, it's hard for a Kiwi to do an American accent, but it's really easy for us to do a British accent. So now she's British.
I love so many details. We know more about this film than the actual film itself. And I see. Maybe I missed that part of the commentary. Maybe I zoned out there for a while.
It's a brief sentence.
I thought it was in Maine. I thought it was like a coastal town in Maine.
Everyone has California plates.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know. Oh, so California. But I didn't even notice that. That's funny because you know what's weird? In my head, I just thought it was.
I would have thought so
just
too.
Just because of the rain and the cold and that kind of stuff.
No one really associates that with California. Yeah. I mean, at least I don't. But I guess because 1996 and Peter Jackson is still very old school type of way of thinking, he was probably like, internet, I don't need to look up pictures of this. So I'll just go to what I think. Okay, well then, yeah.
I loved his stubbornness, though. He wanted to prove to the world that New Zealand could make this movie. And when Zemeckis wanted ILM to help, Industrial Light and Magic, he said, no, we can do this here. And I like that. And I think that, I mean, for his country, I mean, Xena Warrior had been filming in New Zealand beforehand.
But nothing like this.
Like
caliber.
This, exactly. Yeah. And I think this really, I mean, then you think about Lord of the Rings got shot. And then a lot of TV, Shannara Chronicles. And there's a decent amount of shows and movies that are out there right now. And so I think he did the New Zealand film industry a big favor by fighting so hard for this film. And he gave a lot of jobs.
I mean, think about it. He did like 10 years of making movies before anybody would really take them seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, this movie really kind of did it for them.
And I listened to, this is crazy, but I listened to an hour-long documentary at Texas. There's a Texas Fright Fest, I think, Frightmare, with Dee Wallace, Jeffrey Combs, where they did this. And Dee Wallace, during the shooting of this, I don't know if you know it, but she lost her husband. Her husband had a heart attack, so she went back to California, which from New Zealand, which is nuts. And then she came back, and then her husband passed away, so then she left. So the end gun, when she's running around with the gun at the end, they didn't think she was going to come back, obviously, because they knew how tough it was. So that's why a lot of those scenes had to be fixed at the end with her running around with the gun.
Yeah, I remember him saying, I didn't see that part, but I remember him saying that was supposed to be more elaborate.
Yeah.
Because there were supposed to be scenes of them having fun, and if you just lost your husband, that would be really rough to be, like sitting there pretending to have fun with somebody who's like supposed to be the love of your life. And it's like,
yeah. And she came back though, which is pretty cool. And she said the crew was just amazing to her, and she brought her kid back. And then the kid became the set mascot. Okay. And they built rigs for him. Like the kid just got spoiled on set. And she said she's never witnessed anything. She said the New Zealand people are the coolest. And Jeffrey Combs said it too. He's like, I love it. And for his character, I think he's probably the fan favorite, Milton Dammers. Do you know, his story about Hitler? Yeah. He just went to a New Zealand bookstore, showed a picture of Hitler to Peter Jackson.
He's like, I want that haircut.
And Peter Jackson went, okay. And he's like, what?
And he also put prosthetics behind his ears to make him stand out more.
Yeah, and just his over-the-top performance, the way he wants to barf.
Oh, when, every time a woman speaks up for themselves, he's like, he becomes violently ill. He's like, I can't handle women getting angry at me. It's like,
and then Peter Jackson said that since he did so many years with the Manson family and death cults and every cult you could imagine,
be bonkers, yeah.
She said there's probably something wrong with his butt. So that's why he keeps sitting. That's why he doesn't like to sit down. And that's why he has that tube. You think he's going to pull out a gun, but it's a little cushion that he sits on. Because Peter Jackson just figured in the line of duty something happened to his butt. Like, that's what Peter Jackson
that makes a lot of sense, because doesn't he say that he spent 3 years with a sex cult?
Yeah.
And he was their slave, their sex slave for 3 years. It's like, I would imagine you'd have some permanent damage.
Yeah, so I just think that's pretty interesting that Peter Jackson's making an expensive studio picture. And one of the motivations, the guy gets an Adolf Hitler haircut, and he has a tube that he has to sit on because sitting is uncomfortable for him.
And that tube was apparently, they had a real hemorrhoid pillow, but it was too big, and he said you wouldn't be able to carry that around with you wherever you went. So they found an inner tube from a wheelbarrow tire. And that's what that was.
So it was probably a government issued tube for him. And I also like that when they showed him the designs for all this stuff on his chest.
He came up with a lot of those designs.
He said a tic-tac-toe. He said he wanted to do a half-finished tic-tac-toe game because the cults just mess with his body.
Ugh.
So this guy, when I first watched this movie when I was 14, witnessing Milton Dammers, that was a next level performance when you're 14. You were what, 12, 11? I guess.
Yeah, I was like 12. I think I saw this whenever. I didn't see it in theaters. We saw it years later when it was available to rent.
Got it. And I was like, this movie's next level. Because I hadn't seen a movie with his sensibilities, Peter Jackson's sensibilities. I had watched, obviously, Nightmare on Elm Street and Freddy and all that and all these ghosts, poltergeists. But I wasn't ready. I was 14. I'd seen Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction.
But and Natural Born Killers.
And, oh gosh, Duncan. I bought that used at a Blockbuster Video, and the guy smiled at me and sold it to a very young me. Evil. So I just, this movie though, the sensibilities just felt very different to me. Just when the ghost died and the woman running around with a gun at the end and then slicing heads in there and killings. And there was this weird sense of heaven and hell and murder and a weird vibe that plays with humor. And that judge is having sex with a mummy corpse.
Yeah, I like it when they don't move. Or they lie still.
So this movie flummoxed me as a 14-year-old kid. I don't know, what reaction did you have? I
don't remember when I first saw this. I just remember thinking that I think I saw this when I was 15 or 16. And I didn't think much of it. When I first saw it. But then years later I watched it again. And I watched it again and eventually bought it. But I started liking it more as I got older, because I would whenever I was a teenager, I liked more the indie films.
Got it.
So to me, this was a big budget film, and it was, but I mean,
17 million, I think the budget.
I read 30, but they
yep.
made 12 million on it, so it was it's a heck of a tank.
I mean, it opened against another huge movie, Independence Day.
Oh yeah, there's no way. That's ridiculous. Why would that? That's even stupider. I almost want to get into a time machine and be like, why do you want to put this up against Independence? There's no, without any doubt in anyone's mind, Independence Day was going to be the biggest thing ever. I mean, we saw that in theaters, I think 3 times.
Yeah, exactly. I feel bad for dates that went to Frighteners thinking they were going to watch a summer. Hey, there's a ghost. Michael J. Fox is a shiesty con man with ghosts. Let's go see it.
Okay, so which one would you rather? What would you rather have been? The guy who takes his girlfriend to go see the Frighteners, or the guy that takes his girlfriend to go see Candyman?
I would say
second date.
I would say Candyman.
Candyman?
Yeah.
Second date?
Because Frighteners, you leave Candyman, it's kind of a cool character. It's a whole mythos. It's based on that. But
He gets burned alive.
Yeah, but that's more of a straight horror, I think, just Candyman. Like that, it's more straight horror.
So
but this
Frighteners is more of a curveball. It kind of would leave you warped.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, so is Candyman. That's not what you expect. But I think Candyman, I would do that instead of because Frighteners is a curve. Frighteners is like a curveball.
That was like a Yokonomo.
Yeah.
That's a throwback.
It's like a Charlie Sheen from Major League. Just a bit outside. So this movie, though, it starts as a comedy, then people just start dying. And
it's written very much like a. It was originally supposed to be a Tales from the Crypt episode.
Yep. Zemeckis,
yeah. Robert Zemeckis, who was produced by who didn't produce Tales from the Crypt, but he originally wanted this to be a Tales from the Crypt episode. But he felt that it had so much ground that they could actually make it into a feature-length film, which I think it's good for them, because if it was a Tales from the Crypt episode, I think that they probably would have tried to cram too much into it. But, I mean, it has that great lighthearted, kind of like dark lightheart. I don't know how you would put that, humor that Tales from the Crypt has. Because Tales from the Crypt does have that, like we talked about with Demon Knight, where he spits on the demon. Whoa, I hate that, you know? It's just like things like that. And that's what this movie has. And it also has very serious horror. People getting killed left and right.
Dammers gets his head blown off.
Yeah, that was they shot 2 different versions of that. One for like when it was originally when they had a PG-13, he gets shot in the chest and falls through the door. And if you see this on TV, that's what they show. But
oh, really?
That's the version. That was one of the first. I remember seeing that, and I was like, wait a minute, isn't his head supposed to get blown off? And then the version we see now on DVD is his head gets blown off and it instantly becomes a ghost, which is a really great shot. Yeah, I love that one.
I mean, it starts so it's interesting, the curveball, because you think he's just hunting death, and that could be a fun race against the clock movie where they're trying to get the next number. But then it turns out to be Johnny Bartlett, this
the guy who killed, this mass killer from the 60s is actually now targeting everybody all these years later.
And it's interesting in the commentary, and the first scene with the wallpaper man, I thought that was amazing.
I love that shot too. And that was going to be my one lead-in. It was like, and here's Mark Hoffmeyer, the guy who used his double-barrel shotgun to shoot a hole through his
carpet.
It was carpet.
But they were playing a game in the beginning. Peter Jackson's like the red herring when you have Dee Wallace and, I guess as we learn later, it's Jake Busey. They're playing a game throughout the house. So, I mean, that's a big-time red herring. But they're jerks, because that game is destroying the house. Prints fall down, a carpet gets blown up with a shotgun.
Mom from E.T. has to shoot the ghost.
Yeah, Dee Wallace's mom.
Is that the mom from E.T.?
No, Dee Wallace is the mom. The young girl. You know what's interesting, too?
My brain's like all over the place.
You know what I loved in the Texas Frightmare commentary? So when you see her throughout the movie, she looks a little older. But at the end, when she's hunting down Michael J. Fox and Trini Alvarado, she looks younger, because she said she's kind of, it's flowing again.
It's like she's becoming like a young girl.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And so you saw like her outfit and everything, like the dress and the way she slides. So they purposely made her younger throughout because she was revitalized with the kill.
Oh,
isn't that awesome?
That's a good touch. Yeah. I didn't think of that.
I just got goosebumps. I'm dropping facts, I gave myself goosebumps with the fact that someone else said on a podcast during a Texas Frightmare weekend in 2012. But I don't know. That's what the level of this movie was.
That's a lot of attention. I love that.
And also, I just really liked that beginning chase scene. I loved the jerky damage to the house. I just like how they set up this really weird vibe.
And you think the jig would be up, though, once they have to repair all these things? Like, their carpenter has got to be like, guys.
Wallpaper man.
Stop. Wow, I'm aware your boyfriend is a ghost and he's coming back and y'all had this weird thing that you used to do, but for the love of God.
Can't you go up to the sanitarium and do that?
You know, that there's a haunted, there's an abandoned school around the corner.
Play your games there. Well, there's no wallpaper. Find some. I don't know.
God. I hate this house.
I gotta get a new runner. I just hung that painting last week.
First off, I want you to know, I know who did it. I don't know why. What happened to my smart tool?
Yeah.
You know how much those things cost?
I mean, the wallpaper stretched.
Yeah, cough it up there, number 19.
Case number 19.
Case 19.
All right, so listen to our Valley Girl. I'll release that one first, so we'll do Valley Girl. So, yeah, I mean, they're running around, like, they're just ruining the house. Bunch of jerks. But I love that intro.
I'd be so pissed if I was the mom, to be honest with you.
Oh,
I'd be so angry. I'd be like, oh my God.
But that mom said I could send her to the sanitarium at any
do you
time.
know who
you
she
should.
Is? Yeah, I mean, that wouldn't be a threat. That would just be like, I'd grab her, throw her in the car, be like, ha ha ha, I'm going to go live my life now.
Yeah, you wrecked my carpet for the last time.
That'd be great.
I mean, it's just, I don't know. But I also love what that leads into is so we learn about the town of Fairwater. And I love our introduction to Michael J. Fox because he shows up at the funeral and then they push him away. But I love how he just takes his business cards and throws them. I mean, that's cool. And then I like, his driving down the hill. That's kind of crazy in his car. But I love how we get introduced to what kind of moves the movie forward, how he meets Ray Linsky and Lucy Linsky when he drives in their lawn and crushes their fence.
Yeah, I love how he, it's very obvious that the guy who plays
Ray?
Yeah, very obvious, loves Elvis Presley. I mean, he's wearing the Jailhouse Rock shirt throughout the entire movie.
He was, you want to hear something?
He played Elvis.
In Forrest Gump.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he had Elvis in his room.
Yep.
Isn't that crazy?
They had the floating Elvis.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, I like how you did that. It's very obvious. He looks just like Elvis, too.
As soon as I saw it, I'm like, Chris Kelly's going to love this. But what makes me so mad is I love lawn gnomes. And when Michael J. Fox targets that lawn gnome, when he's driving out, I got so pissed.
Did you listen to the commentary of that scene?
Oh, because
he says, he's like, I don't think they call them lawn gnomes in America. They're called garden somethings. Yeah. And I was like, what? No, we call them lawn gnomes.
Yeah, they're called garden cherubs.
Like garden ghouls.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah, I was like, no, I got a lawn gnome in my backyard. They protect my backyard. But yeah, I hated how he crushed that thing. But I don't know. I liked Michael J. Fox in this movie. I liked how committed he was. I liked the physicality of it. He actually really hurt his ankle.
Yeah, the scene at the end where he's like, I think, running towards the journalist, and his foot goes into a hole and twisted it and actually wound up breaking a few spots.
And so, I mean...
And then you see him running through the woods, and you can obviously tell something happened to his leg because he's stumbling as he's running. But
dude's a trooper. And he was flying back during this time, he was flying to LA to California because he was getting treatments. So he hadn't told anybody yet, but, with his disease, he just learned about it. So this guy is in New Zealand, away from his family, messing up his ankle, getting rained on a lot.
But then he has to fly from back and forth because of his Parkinson's.
Yeah. And Jeffrey Combs was like, how do you do this? And
he's like, did you read about how I did Back to the Future? Yeah.
But I don't know. I like the physicality of Michael J. Fox's role. And I think
he puts a lot of heart into it.
You talk about acting with nothing. He acted with nothing in this movie. And I like the scene where, Ray eventually becomes a ghost because he gets his heart crushed with the great scene, What's with the Number. But I like when he walks through Michael J. Fox and Michael J. Fox is at Shudder.
Yeah.
Like he added all that into this film. And it
makes sense.
Yeah.
I love how even when the scene where when he's in his kitchen and he reaches through what's his name, Fife?
Yeah, Fife.
He grabs the bug spray and he can't get through him because he's like, ugh.
Because the older they get, right? The older the ghosts get, the more they can move. Because Ray, when he became a ghost, which I do love that. Let's talk about that scene where Cyrus and Stuart mess with Ray and Lucy's house.
Oh, I love that scene that he walks in. He's like, the kitchen table is turning counterclockwise, right? And she's like, no. The toilet seat was banging up and down, right? No. He's like, the bed was levitating. Yes. And then they cut to afterwards. He's like, you didn't even do the thing with the toilet. You're making me look like an asshole.
But I loved that, and he pulls out the gun with the holy water. Yeah. That's a good bit. And I liked when he collects the demons in that stupid bag and he puts it down the garbage disposal.
Yeah, I thought it was so ridiculous because it's he's when he hands it to them, he says, some people like to have a memento. He's like, no. He's like, then he puts it in the garbage disposal. It's okay. They can't feel it.
Now, those Lucy and Ray in this movie, their house. All right. So, in a lot of horror movies, you hear a door open or you hear... a
creaking,
a creak, or you see an orb when you take a photo because there's a lot of dust in the area. But they take this
Yeah.
they know there's ghosts now. They handle it pretty well. I mean, their house was poltergeisted.
I gotta say, Ray, he for a guy who doesn't believe. I mean, what else would you need?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I love that scene with the chicken walking too. That was pretty good.
Oh, yeah, and that wasn't even in the cut, right? That was in the director's cut. And it's like Mary Poppins. They say that the adults never remember after a day. I don't know, all the magic. I just watched Mary Poppins Returns, but it's a weird combo. But he immediately is just calling this guy a shyster.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't know, Ray, like, what do you want?
Your bed was levitating.
You saw it. You saw the Elvis floating across it's like, I don't know what else you would, what else you would need to know, to see, to have your place believe it's being haunted. I mean, certain things that could be like, okay, I get it. But it's like, this would be like a 15-man operation to happen. Like,
that's a good racket, though. You can make a lot of money on that. Just go have someone tear up a house.
You kidding me? I'd be living so fat. Oh,
come back.
I'd have 12 podcasts.
I love that he's not trying to help people. I love that he's trying to make money.
Yeah. And he's just doing it, and then obviously he doesn't care about his house.
Yeah, his half-finished house.
I love the house. I love the scene where he just like climbs up onto the roof and he starts cutting the roof so he can fire wood.
Yeah.
The shower scene, that's great. He just has like 2 tarps or like a couple of tarps covering the shower, so that's how he showers every morning.
I like his flashbacks of him playing basketball. He and Teen Wolf, man. He loves playing basketball, Michael J. Fox.
He was dynamite in Teen Wolf playing that basketball. He did a somersault.
Yeah. And he loved that wig. Remember Peter Jackson said that Michael J. Fox loved his long hair wig?
Oh, I'm sure he did. Yeah.
He was like, he loved that thing.
He never gets to have long hair in his movies.
Yeah, you're right. And so... But I don't know. I like how they built that, and then he sees on the head of Ray. I love that scene, though. He's like, what's with the number? Like, that's cool.
Yeah. And it's a great little introduction to, like, something is not right here.
And then poor Ray gets his heart squished.
Yeah, at the age of 28, isn't that what he says? Yeah. I was like, he looks like about 35. Turns like he was 35. But.
City miles. But I don't know. He also got hit in the head with a frying pan, Ray. Maybe you forgot.
That's a good point. I forgot about that part, yeah. And he's just like, there's a perfectly good and reasonable expiration from all this.
And then also, it turns out that Cyrus and Stewart have been working for Fox for 5 years. How come it's the ghosts? We've done 5 years of service.
And how come this has never come up before?
Yeah.
Like the Grim Reaper. Yeah, I thought the same thing too. Like, why is this just now happening? Because obviously he's been able to communicate with ghosts for a number of years, ever since his wife died.
There's been about 25 kills, right? Since he killed 12, right? And then he's at 37. So about 15 kills in between.
And then she's like, wake up number 38. No, 38 was the last one.
Oh, got it.
That would have been her. Case.
Oh!
It's all coming together now.
That's right. So, I don't know. But 5 years and they've been working together. So he can't really fleece anybody else in this town, can he?
Yeah, that's got to be a really stupid town. That's good. I mean, the people that live there. I mean, I'm not knocking them or anything, even though they don't exist.
Ghost hunters would be everywhere.
I would think. I mean, that would be a great racket. I mean, in reality, he would probably have to move from town to town like all the time and whatnot. But I mean, of course, because you would know, oh my God, who's going to be haunted next? And it's like, yeah.
And Michael J. Fox shows up.
You're like, oh God, darn.
And so what did you think about Judge in this movie?
I love Judge, man. John Astin.
Yeah.
He's great. I love how he's still killing it, too. He's an amazing actor. I mean, all the way back to Gomez.
Yeah.
But no, he was great. You don't even recognize him because he had 5 hours of makeup applied to him every day. They had the jawbone hanging off.
Nuts.
I love how I like how he added like a nice, almost like an alive touch to the dead where he's like, haunting is a young man's game, young ghost's game. You know,
you've been saying that for years.
Yeah.
And I like that he also established something very important when he comes in shooting when you first meet him and he hits Stewart's cheek. And ghosts can kill ghosts.
Yeah, ghosts can kill ghosts, but humans can't kill ghosts.
That's interesting.
They can cause damage, but not permanent damage. Because remember when he sprays Stewart in the face with the bug repellent, and it's like he's got acid in his face, but then he comes back, and also Stewart gets sucked through the engine of the car, cuts him up into any bits, but then spits him out as a whole ghost in the tailpipe.
And Michael J. Fox gets smushed a lot by the cars.
Yeah.
The scene.
But then that scene was kind of interesting, too, because it's like, well, they would always be dodging cars. Because then also, the Grim Reaper is about ready to slam into Michael J. Fox and then takes the truck, hits him, and now he's off. But why couldn't he just kind of jump off the truck and then fly back down?
Plot.
See?
I like that. The scene where he first pops out his scythe.
Yeah.
That's gangster.
And it's like the whole screen shakes.
I'd be helpless if I'd be like, I'm dead. But I like Also, Aston, he shot a ton of stuff that got cut out of this movie.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can see why they would do that, because it would get kind of old really quick.
Yeah.
He had this way of talking.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's only so much you can do with that. I mean, although Shy McBride, you know, he had some great improv, but there's only so much of that you can take. You can only hear so much 70s jive before it just gets ridiculous.
And he said, you know what's funny? He's like, I hated the script when I first read it. He's like, the only way I'll do this movie is if the only way I'll do this movie is if I can write my own lines. Because he hated the script. It must have been very stereotypical, because he's like, I'm not doing this. But then he watched Heavenly Creatures and he really liked it.
I mean, Shy McBride, I mean, he generally plays a lot more like like a big character who has a lot of great, like, knowledge to give.
Yeah, like gravitas. Yeah, and then also, John Aston, Rick Baker did his makeup. I don't know if you know that, you know, the famous Rick Baker.
The B from KNB.
But he couldn't put it on every day. He just came up with the design. Mm-hmm. So someone else was there by, you know, on his behest, setting it up.
Putting it on there, yeah.
But that's kind of cool that Rick Baker did the judge. I mean, this movie had some big names on it. I mean, Zemeckis, Jackson, Rick Baker, big names.
And you had the cinematographers, which were mainly known for TV movies at the time, except for Alan Bollinger, who did Heavenly Creatures and a lot of other, and then went on to do more of Peter Jackson's films.
Yeah, they lost their DP halfway through this.
Yeah, I forget. He talks about that in the beginning.
Busted up his foot.
There we go.
So, all right, so how about this? Let's take a break and let's go hurt our ankles. And let's let them heal. And when we come back, we'll talk more Frighteners.
Love it.
Welcome back to Movies, Films, and Flicks. Our ankles are fine. Took a while, but we're good, right? We're ready to do some running scenes?
Yeah.
Do our own stunts?
It was about like 5 pounds of ice. Good thing you're having frozen vegetables for dinner tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thawing out right now on my ankle. So what I do want to talk about, another thing I love about Dammers are the black contact lenses he wore.
Yeah, he wanted to look like a shark.
Yeah, I feel like that his eyes didn't look like that when he started with the government years ago. Like, he's just been broken by them.
He looks like, he definitely has been, his whole character has been destroyed throughout the years of working as an undercover agent in these different cults. I would think just about anybody would be.
Yeah, you're right.
He did a great job of really reading into the character and how he would actually become, if he had, I guess he would, going straight would be the correct term.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What do you mean?
Because he's no longer working in the cults, so then wouldn't it be he went straight, or would it be he went back to working as a cop?
Yeah, maybe they just gave him a break, right? So they're we're taking you out of there.
Yeah,
I mean, the fact that he's still able to function as a human being shows that must have been a pretty strong personality. And I kind of loved his little metal chest plate that he wore in this film, Dammers.
He permanently wore a metal chest plate?
Remember when he opens it up, he's like, I have a chest plate. You can't get into my heart.
Oh,
remember that? He thought he could get in there. And then I also like how he becomes just such an annoyance. So at the end, they're trying to, they get Jake Busey into the urn. I'm just going to call him Jake Busey. They get him into the urn. They're going to drop him off at Holy Place inside the church
He just throws it out.
Yeah, and he just takes it and throws it.
I'll show you once and for all. It's all in your head. No,
you idiot! But that's the second time that Jake Busey got some pretty good mulligans.
The church was pretty held together for a dilapidated building.
Yeah, it was really nice. The elevator still worked.
Yeah,
I mean, they don't make them like they used to. I like also when Michael J. Fox gets the upper hand on Busey, starts kicking his ass, and then he gets woken. The big blob drops into the. He has Jake Busey on the run, and he turns him into a blob with the machine guns after he kills Arlie Ermy actually with the scythe. But then the thing just
he throws his face on the thing. He's like, how's it going?
And then it sneaks away, it blobs away. Then he has to fight the blob man, and he's going to kill it. And then he gets woken up because she put him in the freezer with the pill. Or what she...
He intentionally killed himself, and then she was going to thaw him back up because I think it was like 30 minutes or something.
Yeah.
If you were frozen for longer than that amount of time, you would have been permanently dead. So she brought him back out after a certain amount of time.
Busey got lucky in this movie. He's about to get killed, and then he gets the urn thrown out.
It was as lucky as Roadhouse 2.
Wait, he was
in Roadhouse 2.
Was he the villain?
Was he? I thought he was like the Patrick Swayze character.
No, wait. No, there's another guy who was the Patrick Swayze character. The guy from that thing, Jonathan Schaech.
Oh, man.
That's a deep one right there. I just pulled out Jonathan Schaech.
What do you think about the remake with Ronda Rousey?
Did they make it?
It's going to be made, yeah.
Oh, geez Louise. Well, they haven't
I
talked
don't know
about
how
that for years.
Yeah, because then she got beat, and then eventually they were like, no, we don't want to have her in the Roadhouse character. It's like, I don't know. I guess now that she's doing wrestling now, it's like she
could be back.
Yeah.
The thing is, even though
I'd be scared shitless.
Even though she got beat by Holly Holm and Amanda Nunes in back-to-back fights, she could still destroy me.
Oh, like yeah, no contest. I'd be smoked.
Judo throw me and then armbar the living daylights out of me. So even though she lost, she could still be a great bouncer.
I mean, I don't know if I could run to my car fast enough.
Well, even if you were faster for the first 40, she would just catch you in the next 40.
It'd be like that scene in The Simpsons. I'll get you, Bette Midler. Remember whenever Bette Midler's chasing him down the road with the can?
I remember that.
That was the Krusty Gets Canceled episode, and he tries to make a comeback.
Oh, I remember.
Oh, that's great. Like, Bette Midler is like picking up trash alongside the road, and they ask her to come join. They're like, okay, cool. And then some snake, I think, throws a soda can out of his car, and she picks it up, crushes it, and she's chasing him down the road. He goes, oh no, Bette Midler. And then she jumps on the side of the truck, throws the can back at him. Truck spins out of control and then falls off the cliff. He goes, I'll get you, Bette Midler. And then it blows up. Then she's like, and then back to what you kids were saying. I'd love to be on the show.
That's funny.
That's a great one.
I would love to, as a former bouncer, I would have loved to have had Ronda Rousey bouncing with me.
No, you'd be sitting there just drinking coffee.
Yeah. Well, like, it'd be great. I'd love to have her there. Yeah. Ron to take care of that. I would have to take care of her light work.
Yeah, her like, look, I'll handle your time card. Why don't you, there's like 7 drunk guys in the back. Why don't you just go out there and breathe on them so they're all dead? And
then another scene that's really weird in The Frighteners is the museum scene, where
which shows that in America in the 90s you could have a gunfight and it's okay.
Yeah, have a gunfight.
Completely normal for it to have a gunfight in the middle
and destroy ancient, like those ancient fossils and mummies.
He just throws the base at the cop. It's like
millions. This is priceless. So they're shooting that. Those cops are good shots because they hit the heads off of all those little rodent fossils. But why were they shooting? Because Michael J. Fox wasn't shooting.
I didn't understand that either. It's just it seemed kind of strange, almost like it was like cartoonish. Like he was trying to do a parody of what an outsider would think America would be like. Trouble's a brewing at the museum. Better pull out our guns and start shooting.
Let's shoot the artifacts.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like to me because I was like, well, that doesn't make any sense. Even like looking back. Back in the 90s, when we didn't really, I mean, there were still shootings that happened, but they weren't like prominent. But it was like, that didn't happen. Like, I mean, people didn't just go like rolling up out of nowhere and pull out 2 guns and just go, oh my gosh, looks like something's happening here. Bang, bang, bang.
I guess it's a movie trope. Have you seen The Jerk? They're shooting at the cans. They're shooting at all the artifacts. They hate the artifacts.
These cans are defective.
But no, that was, and then also there's another scene where the Reaper, Jake Busey, kills Stewart. And then, remember, he stabs Stewart through the head in the joust, but then he takes his, like, spirit and crushes it. But later on, we see Stewart in heaven. He's quite the ladies' man. So what does that mean? Because they killed Busey, then his spirit was freed?
I think that what it's like, they're no longer in that parallel world. Because remember, he says that you have, whenever you first see the bright light or whatever you see, which we find out with Jake Busey doesn't see the bright light, that you have only a finite amount of time to actually go up there. And then if you don't, you get that chance again on the anniversary of your death. Because remember, he says that to Ray whenever he's running. He's like, why didn't you go into the light? And he's like, I didn't know what was going on. And he's like, okay, well, 1 year from right now, you'll get your chance again. Go to the light.
Yeah. Oh, okay, so they just missed it. Maybe they just enjoy hanging out on Earth before they go up there. Yeah, no, they're just all gross and goopy. And they're complaining about ghost rights.
And that was the whole point of The Lovely Bones.
Yeah.
Remember that? Because what was it Roger Ebert said that about The Lovely Bones was that if you're killed on Earth, best case scenario is you get to watch how it affects your family on Earth.
Yeah.
That's the whole point in the movie.
That's another Peter Jackson movie.
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty decent film, but it was like...
And another thing that Ebert said about this movie, he didn't like this movie, 1 out of 4 stars, but he generally hates horror movies.
He gave Silver Bullet 3. He said that, well, he thought that whenever... Silver Bullet. I love Silver
Busey.
Bullet.
Another Busey.
See?
We're tying everything together. Lovely Bones, Peter Jackson. Silver Bullet, Gary Busey.
Corey Haim, Corey Feldman, the Coreys, who were big stars in the 80s, as well as Michael J. Fox.
Oh.
What up?
I'm just going to say Christopher Lloyd. That has nothing to do with anything.
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Jack Nicholson. Batman. Batman, Christian Bale. Christian Bale, Morgan Freeman in Batman. Morgan Freeman with Michael Caine in Batman. Michael Caine.
Morgan Freeman and Jack Nicholson in The Bucket List.
In The Bucket List with Renee Zellweger, who's with Mel Gibson in Lethal Weapon, who's with Julia Roberts in Conspiracy Theory, who is with George Clooney in Ocean's 11, who is with Chris O'Donnell in Batman and Robin. Chris O'Donnell is with Sandra Bullock in Love and War.
And Gravity, starring Sandra Bullock with George Clooney.
Going back to George Clooney. Then we're going George Clooney back to Nicole Kidman in The Peacekeeper. Nicole Kidman was with Tom Cruise in Days of Thunder. Tom Cruise was with Jeremy Renner in the Mission Impossible movies. Jeremy Renner is an archer like Legolas. Legolas was in The Lord of the Rings, directed by Peter Jackson.
I think you have something.
I'm tired. Yeah. I'm tired. All right, but yeah, so what were we talking? We were on to something good, weren't we? We were just talking about something pretty great.
I thought we were talking about Teen Wolf.
Yeah, wait, no, shoot. No, wait. Oh, no, Ebert. So this is what Ebert had to say about it. He said, incredible the amount of work that went into The Frighteners, and appalling anyone who appreciates special effects, computer animation, or movie makeup will regard this movie with awe. But there's not a shot that doesn't suggest infinite pains and patience, which is true. Complex makeup was painstakingly applied to actors for shots that were then married to special effects in order to create a screen filled with gory images. But then he wrote, last year, I reviewed a 9-hour documentary about the lives of Mongolian yak herdsmen, and I would rather see it again than sit through The Frighteners.
Damn.
He hated The Frighteners. He'd watch yak.
He watched a 9-hour documentary about Mongolian yak.
Yaks are pretty big, and Mongolia is pretty rocky. That'd be an interesting job to be a yak herdsman.
Is that like a 9-hour film worthy, though?
I mean, 9-hour documentary?
I don't know if I could sit there.
Are you just watching yaks walking for 9 hours? Because I'd do that.
I mean, yeah.
It'd be a good, like, put on your TV. Like, you know when you watch Nick Offerman drinking whiskey in front of a fireplace during the holidays? You could just watch yaks walking for 9 hours. It'd be a good screensaver for your TV. But yeah,
so I got this from the documentary.
I could see how people do not like this movie.
Oh, totally. I could absolutely see why people wouldn't like this. They don't know how, some people can't handle it because some people, I mean, I've had friends that don't like horror comedies because they just can't comprehend it. You know, believe it or not, I've met people that don't like Shaun of the Dead.
Say what?
Yeah. Get out of my house.
No. Go herd some yaks.
But it's just, it gives you, like, it's very good of both sides of the equation. Some people, I mean, I've had friends that don't like it. They didn't like the Evil Dead series because of the hilariousness of it, but it's so horrific at the same time. So it's kind of hard to judge about how you would like it, but I love it.
Yeah, no, and I just think it's just, it's a weird movie for sure. But I know, I just love, seeing Michael J. Fox as a action hero, or, you know, a hero. You don't get to see that much in these kind of roles. And so I love that. I just love how this is a very different movie as well, too. We've already talked about this a lot, but I think it holds up so well is because it has a personality to it.
Yeah. People, I think over time, people probably grew more of an appreciation for it. And it doesn't really have like a nostalgia feel to it because there isn't anything that really dates it. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times when you watch movies, they become dated, even if they weren't trying to. Like, say, for instance, Jurassic Park, one of my favorite films of all time. But it's very dated because you can see the way it looks and everything looks dated. Whereas with this movie, everything is kind of just like that could happen nowadays. They
kind of made it dated. They had a hard time finding, American-made cars in New Zealand, so they used older ones, and so they used. I think they gave it a really timeless vibe, and also before we move on, the gigantic hellworm.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Yeah, I love
that. That's a lot of work.
Yeah. I mean, I love how that was the interpretation of dragging people to hell. It wasn't like a demon coming out and being like, "Wah!" It was more like there's these serpents that come out, and then the serpents have serpents inside of them. And I love how in the I think it was in the documentary that he talks about how the reason why the snake actually goes into Jake Busey's eyes and then into its mouth is because the way he was screaming on the blue screen, that it just kind of, he was like, yeah, we could probably put a snake in there. They decided to add that, which was a nice little touch.
Oh, that's cool. And do they grab everybody and take them to hell?
No, it's only Jake Busey and
because he escaped.
No, well, no, they were going to hell anyways.
Yeah, but how did he escape from hell? Remember, he said, "I escaped."
Yeah, I think they just kind of dropped that off there.
Yada yada.
He's like, wait a minute, how did you get out of hell? And he's like, Well, I mean,
there's a door.
Someone needed pizza.
No, honestly, guys, there's a door, and no one walks through it because they don't think it's real. I walked through it and I was out.
I proved them wrong.
I called their bluff.
I'm making Roadhouse too, right?
Yeah, well, there's 7 million doors, and if you pick wrong, it's hell. But you're in hell. So I walked through as many as I can. I went through some terrible things. Oh boy.
One wasn't that bad though. I mean, I walked in. I opened it. It was a bunch of pineapples.
Yeah. I had to watch Cheers reruns. It was awesome.
Tony Danza was there.
Yeah. I said, Tony Danza, why are you here?
I don't know. Yeah, I said, why are you doing an impression of
Sylvester Stallone? Man, poor Tony Danza. And he's like, but it turned out it wasn't Tony Danza. It was all an illusion. It was weird.
It was a Tony Stanza.
Yeah. One time, there was a room that was full of bagels, but they were 2 days old.
There was no toaster, and there was no microwave.
I mean, so I ate them. My mouth was dry, and they weren't too good. So I guess it's supposed to remind you of real good times and bagels. But yeah,
I've always been fond of cinnamon and raisins.
Yeah. Not 2 day old though. But I love how he just said, "Yeah, they'll let me out."
Yeah, well, he was like, oh, I escaped, and it's like, wait, what? How did that? Who did you have to take out though?
I want this story.
Yeah, right.
Like
maybe that would have been Frighteners 2 if this didn't lose so much money.
Isn't that Drive Angry where Nick Cage escaped from hell in a car?
Yeah.
Maybe
that movie's great. I don't care what anybody
Maybe
says.
He took off.
I wish I saw that in 3D.
Well, that movie knows what it is.
It's called Drive Angry.
Yeah, exactly. It's yeah, and so yeah, I just hung out with that.
It's like whenever you watch Hobo with a Shotgun. Oh, that movie was stupid.
Well, come on now.
Like Rutger Hauer's a hobo with a shotgun, and you're expecting what?
Rutger Hauer. But also, I guess we'll talk about one more thing. I love when Dammer says, "This is me with an Uzi." I love that.
Yeah, he just pulls out a gun. Like, I was like, I mean, how more ridiculous can we get it? Like, more bigger guns, bigger ridiculous. And then whenever, what was it? Whenever they're trying to escape. And then she goes off to the side. Dammers has Michael J. Fox by gunpoint, sprays him with a fire extinguisher. I loved how it was so cartoonish too, because he's like whoa, and like flailing his arms around, and then hits the ground, kicks him twice, gun goes flying in the air, catches it, and then it's that world that they built, and I kind of love that. Very slapstick, and I like that.
And then I also thought it was interesting behind the scenes is that day where they shot the funeral in the beginning, Peter Jackson said that was one of his worst days ever. Filming ever.
Really?
Yeah, because he said basically this was a day where we had to film in rain. It was freezing the entire day. We just couldn't really get it right because it was during the opening credits, so they just had to get a bunch of stock shots. Nothing beautiful.
Yeah, that's right.
So they're just knocking out a ton of shots that don't look great. It's raining. And then they had to go shoot somewhere that night where it was still raining. And for Peter Jackson, after working on all these low-budget movies with blood and I mean, New Zealand, like he had to work on Secret on Meet the Feebles because they took all his money away. So he just did it by himself.
Well, but bad taste.
Yeah, bad taste.
Shot that over a period of like 4 years.
So for a guy who has had probably some terrible days on set, to say that that day is one of his worst days, that's crazy.
Man. On the documentary, he talks about how, like, remember his cameo?
Oh, yeah.
He plays the guy who bumps into Michael J. Fox, and he's like, oh, fuck off.
Yeah, he has the shirt with the Reaper.
Yeah. And he's like, he said they shot that scene, and then they had the local news station was there recording them as they were doing it, and he didn't like he was like, well, couldn't you have picked a day where I'm not dressed in this outfit? So you see like this like punk rock. He's supposed to be like a gutter punk type of guy dressed up, and he's the one who's showing everybody what to do and everything. And they're just like, and here's the director, Peter Jackson. This is his first big budget thing. So it's like, oh, damn it.
He's looking like that.
Yeah. He wanted to look a little bit more presentable, but yeah.
And then also there's another scene. Oh, so it turns out that Michael J. Fox's wife was killed because of the two of them. She put a tree in the road. Right?
Yeah,
and then they fell down.
They decided to write that off because I guess it just wouldn't work, or I forget what the reason being. But yeah, it's like, that part, I guess it would be like, well, then how are they going to fall in love at the end?
And then they had a box cutter.
Yeah, and then she steals
because he had 7 blades, and then but this is after she was cutting people's heads with the box cutter. So
it wouldn't make much sense.
Yeah, so that was a kind of so this scene has some things that are just thrown in there, and Peter Jackson does admit to that. He'll say in the beginning, yeah, this was a red herring. Like, yeah, we did that, but then kind of whatever.
Yeah, it's kind of like when James Cameron talks about, Kyle Reese being, the father, and they're like, oh my God, there must be some significance in this. And he's like, well, no, it's just kind of a cool idea. And as long as there's no further questions, that's it. Yeah.
And then one more thing is 2 more things. they hijacked a computer code to get the Reaper. Isn't that pretty interesting? So that guy, he used more of a hack than a code. He was like, we would hijack parts of data so we could do very specific things with it. So that's kind of the beginning of really helping Weta. They just hijack code to make it seem cooler. And then Busey was talking about how behind the scenes, he's like, one day he offered to do some moves on tape for them for the Reaper. So he did some of the Reaper's moves, which they could reference when animating the Reaper's physical movements. So they filmed me, he says. And I don't know how much of it they used. But I can tell you, when I saw Lord of the Rings, I thought, well, now those ring wraiths look kind of familiar. So if you think about the ring wraiths and then the Reaper, I mean, they were practical, but there were some movements in there that's pretty interesting to see.
And so, on the making of documentary, they even have him, they're showing like how they could have created the Reaper, because originally he was supposed to be a practical effect.
Yeah.
And can you imagine doing that? Oh my Lord.
Just so much.
Oh. So they had it was like a tall, I think it was like not like abnormally tall, but like a 6-foot guy, and he had like sticks that he was like a puppet. And he was, so he would run, and then he would shake the sticks. So it looked like he was kind of like floating. I guess you'd say, like almost like, I don't know, like how you would imagine if a jellyfish could actually float in the air, but not like smoothly, more like kind of. And that's what it looked like. So they didn't like that. So they only used one scene where it was the practical effect, which was whenever the Reaper is on top of the car and they're driving, and it's actually like it's a real cloak that's floating, and it's a real quick shot. You can't even tell. But
they said doing cloth was really tough.
Of course.
And I like that they said that originally they had fingers, but then they made the cloth have the fingers.
I love that too. Cool. I love that idea.
That was a good workaround. Like the cloth. So then when he takes off the cloak, you're like, oh, it was just the cloak over Busey. But why was he that mud man when he got squished in his face and then he was that blob?
I guess because he got blown up to so many different parts. It's just kind of, I guess, like thinking about it, if you really did do that to someone in real life. I've never done this, obviously.
Hope not. Chris Kelly.
Case number 42.
That was not a good day for me. And it came back.
Well, like, I imagine...
Never blow up a ghost. When you blow up ghosts, they turn into blobs. It's terrible.
Blobs, which is kind of like melted plastic. And when you think of plastic, think of Chris.
Chris Plastic Kelly. Graduating. Oh, yeah. Who is this guy? Stay tuned for case 45.
Why do I not trust him anymore?
I saw him kill a ghost. An innocent ghost. And since there are no laws for this, because that doesn't exist, he got away with it.
It was the 90s. We had a shootout at a museum.
And he destroyed millions of dollars of artifacts. Yeah.
I hope you didn't want to see that vase anytime soon.
Well, this was the last thing from the Egyptian culture. We blew it up. All right, sorry, go ahead.
So, like, I mean, if you had like two machine guns like he used and just blasted the piss out of someone,
turned into jelly,
I would imagine.
Yeah,
that's probably what they were going with. And then, of course, you can't actually. Now actually, we were talking about this. This brings up a good point because so the judge shot what's his name?
Stewart.
Shot Stewart, and that caused damage.
Yeah,
but he blasted apart. Michael J. Fox blasted apart Busey, and then he comes back and he's back together as one. So wouldn't that actually have really killed him? Yeah,
that would have killed him.
And they were both ghosts. So
yeah.
Was it like a hierarchy thing, like a seniority thing? Like
well, it did escape from hell.
Yeah, that's some
bragging. So maybe he got the yada yada.
Yeah.
The yada yada amulet.
Maybe they cut him some slack.
Maybe he stole something from the Egyptian god or Egyptian guy. He stole an amulet.
Okay, because I was yeah.
I mean, I still love it. I didn't even think about that until today.
I didn't think about it either until we brought up the plastic thing.
Chris Plastic Kelly. All right, so you have a couple movies to recommend before we take out of here, right?
Yeah,
get out of here, right? What do you got?
I like to reference a couple of movies that if you do watch the movies that we're talking about on here, that you could, if you want to watch a movie that would go along with this. I found this movie when I was on Tubi. I was looking for another film, but I saw this and I was like, whoa, this looks pretty interesting. It's actually streaming on Amazon Prime right now. It's called Dark Night of the Scarecrow. It's a 1981 TV film. It's not really starring anybody that I think is notable. The guy who played the dentist in the movie, The Dentist, he plays the mentally challenged guy in the beginning of the movie, but that was it. Like, and then other than that, but the basic premise is that this mentally challenged gentleman supposedly kills this little girl, just like of Mice or Men. rather than going through trial or anything, the local townsmen get together, they grab their pitchforks, their shotgun. Apparently they live in the town the Simpsons live in. They strap him to like a pole and they shoot him and kill him. Those guys go on to trial. They're found innocent because there wasn't anyone to witness this. So they're like, okay, prove that we did it. Prove that we didn't, and then they get off on it. So then this scarecrow then starts appearing. And it's the same size as the mentally challenged man, he's very strong, and he starts terrorizing these men one by one. And they each die individually. Some of them are a little bit more horrific, and some of them are a little bit more relaxed. I don't know how you call it, death relaxed, but it was. I looked it up, and apparently this was a really big cult classic back in the 80s, because it had a really big hit because of how it was just not of the time. 1981 didn't have horror films like this. We had slashers, obviously, because you had Friday the 13th, you had every college movie that had a slasher in it. But this was, I think, one of the first TV-made slasher films.
Cool.
It's
on Tubi and Amazon Prime?
It's on Tubi and Amazon Prime. I was on Tubi looking for The Hammer, and I came across this instead.
Nice. The Hammer's fun. All right, what else you got?
And I was going to say, if you want to see a movie where Michael J. Fox is not playing Michael J. Fox, whereas he's trying to play more of an adult character, which he tried really hard in the 80s to break out of his Marty McFly and his Alex P. Keaton role. One of the first movies he did it with, which I thought this movie is okay. I was a massive fan of the book, which is also the book that made Bret Easton Ellis want to become a writer, called Bright Lights, Big City. Now, if you want to, you can read the book. I've read the book many times. I've seen the movie a handful of times. It's a very faithful adaptation, but he basically plays a journalist who does a lot of drugs, drinks a lot, very Hunter Thompson-esque type of character. Yeah. His best friend in it is played by, why does the name escape me? Donald Pleasant's son.
Donald Pleasant's son.
He's turned 24.
Keith Sutherland? Wait, you mean Donald Sutherland?
Donald Sutherland. Wow. Donald
Pleasant.
I can't. Oh my goodness! I can't keep it straight.
This is shaking you right now. It's shaking your core. All right. So this Michael J. Fox,
Bright Lights, Big City. It's on Amazon and Hulu right now. I mean, he was still Family Ties was still going on. He did Teen Wolf. He did Back to the Future. He did The Secret of My Success and a movie called Light of Day, which has Trent Reznor and a very small cameo.
Interesting,
right?
9 Inch Nails.
That was before
he does every soundtrack. He does a lot of scores now.
And then Back to the Future Part 2 and Casualties of War came out after Bright Lights, Big City. But this was kind of like the first adult thing that he did that was very dark.
Oh, that'd be fun to watch.
It's not bad. The book is way better, but it's a faithful adaptation of the movie.
Bright Lights, Big City and The Dark Knight of the Scarecrow?
Yes.
Oh, I got that right.
Nice.
I keep thinking The Dark Knight because Scarecrow is in that movie.
Yeah.
Hey. All right. So that was fun, man. Thanks for doing... I've been wanting to talk about Frighteners for years, so thanks for joining me.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me on here.
And thank you for your recommendations. I'll add them to the post if I can remember.
Excellent. Excellent, yes.
All right, cool. So, hey, thanks for coming. So for me, Mark Hoffmeyer, and for Chris Plastic Kelly, this is Movies, Films, and Flicks. We'll see you next week.
See you guys.